As well, I wanted your opinion, too. If you're a shareholder today, are you happy with this price? Are you surprised that the first offer was, in fact, the best and final?
Oh, I mean, I think you're popping the champagne if you're a Twitter shareholder, because without Musk, you're looking at a low $30 stock. And it just shows, as you talked about, they were looking for white knights. The poison pill gave them time. No PEs looked at this. And that's why ultimately at the altar, they had to come and walk it down with Musk. And I think for shareholders, I'll call it a Cinderella ending to what could have been some dark days, especially if this happened on Thursday night.
Why no white knight, though? As I asked the two gentlemen who were with me prior, why do all these other parties look at this and say, no, thank you, give them the Heisman and walk away?
It's a disaster private equity candidate because of the cash flow, because of the lack of a subscription model. The challenges are there. And as Josh said, I mean, that's why Musk knew in this game of high-stakes poker, he was really the only one that could get this done. They obviously went out and tried to get that white knight. But once he detailed the financing late last week, that's where, in my opinion, the clock struck 12 for the board. They need to come ultimately to a deal with Musk. And obviously, that's what we saw today.
Does the timing of this today, the price that they agreed to, as I said, the first, best, and final, does it insinuate to you that earnings that are coming this week are going to be ugly?
Oh, I think that could be a Friday the 13th. Pick your horror movie in terms of later this week. And I think that's why the timing, board knew they needed to get this done quick. Another white knight was not coming. And ultimately, look, if they decide not to, then the hostile tender offer would have started. Earnings come out Thursday, lackluster, not smiles and roses. And then you could have had a hostile tender offer. And arguably then, instead of 54, you could be looking at 48, 49. So I think that's why right now this is ultimately Game of Thrones. And, Musk ends up with Twitter. But I think the board obviously made a smart decision in terms of sitting down with him and negotiating.
Let's just speculate because it's fun to do so. Twitter's obviously going to become a privately held company. If it was going to stay public and Musk was going to be the CEO, what would your rating and target be on it, for argument's sake?
I think you'd be negative on it right off the bat. I mean, look, it comes down to, Scott, like, this is when you look at Twitter, and it's well documented, I mean, it's a head scratcher just wanting to own Twitter. That's why no one else that looked at it, they wanted to buy it. It's going to be Herculean-like challenges ahead. And, look, if you look at Musk's successes, it's been PayPal, it's been Tesla, it's been SpaceX. But no doubt, this is really one that, as we've talked about, I think from an investor perspective, trading in your Tesla for Twitter shares is, we'll call it caviar for, $1 or $2 slice of pizza.